I'll hit record. There we go. Are you ready?
Yes.
All right, Chief. The first thing is we've been trying to confirm over the weekend the name of the suspect that was believed to be the shooter of the Van Ness shooting. Are you able to confirm who it is now?
Yeah, Raymond Spencer. It's the person of interest that we initially put out.
With that, and in your investigation, I know you're still going through everything, but are there any sort of motives that have kind of floated to the top that we know of?
No specific motive just yet. I think this is a classic case of a lone wolf type sniper. Certainly, this particular person involved in this hatred, pure evil for whatever reason, for such a young person at that. But we are going through electronic devices, that kind of thing, to really try to get to what the actual motive was. And we're not really sure. This person has been estranged from his family, it seems, for some time. And we really have to peel back the layers a bit to really get to the bottom of it.
And just quickly, any connection at all to the Edmund Burke School for him?
Yeah, we're not seeing any immediate connection to the Edmund Burke School. Obviously, as we go through the computers and all those kinds of things, perhaps there's something out there that we have not seen. But so far, we've not been able to confirm any connection to the school itself.
And one of the questions, you mentioned there that it seemed like he had some hatred. It could be for young people. Is there a reason we're not qualifying this or classifying it as a school shooting? This was one of my producer's questions.
Well, I mean, there were certainly shots that were fired. I mean, we don't know we don't know what we don't know at this point. And I think as we go through, I think there are a lot of other things that will probably come out of this. Maybe it was just focused on the school itself, but we're just not certain as to why. I mean, other people were shot, other individuals were shot, but we can classify it as anything. It was just an evil act that occurred in the District of Columbia, and whether it's school involved, certainly Edmund Burke was part of it, but a lot of other people were involved in this thing.
One of the questions, and anyone who listened to some of the videos that have come out can hear kind of that burst of automatic gunfire. It sounds like in your preliminary investigation through forensics. Are we able to tell if these were automatic weapons he had, or were these semi-automatic weapons given what's commonly, I guess, called a Glock switch?
No, some of these weapons are certainly automatic weapons. We have confirmed that with our partners at the ATF.
So no illegal Glock switches, just illegal automatic weapons.
Yes, these weapons, some of them he made himself, it appears, or had them manufactured, and some weapons it appears he purchased, just kind of right out purchased.
It's pretty much illegal in the United States to purchase an automatic weapon. Is there any evidence we've seen of how he could have gotten a hold of this?
No, we're going through all of that now. We have the DC location that we're working on, as well as a location in Virginia, where he also resided. And we're trying to just kind of work through all the information that we have and the information that may be contained on his electronic devices that may help us really kind of get to the bottom of how he was able to do what he did. He has no prior contact with law enforcement that we could see so far. He has that we can see so far any indication of mental health issues. So we're again just kind of searching nationally and internationally in that space to see if there's any connections there to either a mental health issue or prior law enforcement contacts.
One of the things you mentioned when you were talking about the arsenal that he had, you said, I think that you weren't sure if either he had made it or it had been a homemade firearm. Is there a difficulty? Are we seeing a rise in the use of personally made firearms in DC?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we've been talking about this before today. The number of ghost guns that have shown up in the District of Columbia have certainly increased over the course of the last several years. We went from seeing, single digits to double digits to now triple digit firearms recovered that are ghost guns. So while I'm not surprised, but just to be in a place where you have this, an individual who had so many firearms at this point. I think we're up to 9 firearms. A lot of those firearms are long guns that this person had. Again, some kind of self-manufactured, others outright purchased, scopes, the whole 9 yards. This guy, he had it, and certainly could have done a lot more damage than what happened on Friday.
And just to get the details, and I'm going to move on. 9 firearms. Do you know how many were self-made?
I don't recall that number off the top of my head. No.
So moving on, we also had the incident with the person wearing a special police officer uniform involved with the officer-involved shooting. What's the latest that we're seeing from this investigation?
So for that investigation, again, our force investigation team is still actively investigating that. But what we learned from the security company is that she's not a licensed special police officer. She was the term they used was concierge for their company, which had the responsibility of dispatching the special police officers. However, she was wearing tactical pants, bulletproof vest to include like a body worn camera. So certainly, the uniform indicated that of a police officer or a special police officer in this case. We know that there was some kind of interaction with her coworkers prior to the shooting that was described as erratic behavior. She left work. She went to the location or ended up at the location on Crittenden Street where she lived, where the shooting occurred of the woman before law enforcement. She was engaged by law enforcement, ultimately fatally wounding her. And
when she just briefly, what were some of the de-escalation tactics that the officers attempted before shooting?
Yeah, so there was about a minute plus of certainly loud verbal commands: drop the gun, get on the ground, drop the gun, get on the ground, multiple times. The officer and the communication was very clear, at least what could be heard was very clear. Certainly, we are reviewing cameras in the block from neighbors. You could hear it on there. There are certainly body-worn cameras that were footage obtained from there, and I mean you could hear very clear direction. Unfortunately, the person she did not follow the commands of the officers. At some point, she pointed the firearm at one of the officers, and she was fatally wounded.
And just kind of looking it over, I mean, 16 shootings in a weekend, it seems to be a constant trend at this point. People keep saying upticks, but we've seen, shootings, they're just continue to escalate throughout the winter into now. Law enforcement's only one aspect of it, but, what can you say to the people of DC that your officers can do to try to mitigate this as best from your perspective?
Yeah, so a couple of things in that space. When we let's talk specifically about the shootings and the homicides. Right now, we're at 52 homicides. That's one is one too many anytime it occurs in our city. But that's a 12% reduction from where we were same time last year. The thing that has not changed is the number of shootings. The number of shootings are essentially the same that we had this time last year. And that's a matter of marksmanship, which is why that is very scary to me, right? I mean, a bullet to the wound to the left or to the right could be the difference between life and death. And I think that as we look at focusing on accountability and opportunities for individual, we need to make sure that as an entire city that we are in lockstep focused in on public safety. That includes a fully funded, fully staffed Metropolitan Police Department. That means that the Metropolitan Police Department officers, when we go out here, we're committed to doing everything that we possibly can that is within our authority and our power to do to make our city safe. And that's my commitment to the citizens of the District of Columbia, that I will do everything that I can possibly do. The other pieces, the other programs and so forth that are out here for individuals to take advantage of. I mean, that's great. And I'd love for them to take advantage of it, but you can't arrest your way and you can't program your way out of situations like this. We have to make sure that we are not tolerant of violent behavior, specifically when individuals find themselves shooting somebody over a traffic dispute, or you find a 13-year-old that thinks it's okay to armed carjack 10 people Those kinds of things are unacceptable, and we have to be in lockstep to say that it's unacceptable. We have to be in lockstep to say that there are consequences for those actions. And we're not just doing this as a police department, but our entire city as a collective. We're squarely focused on the issues that are facing us today.
Last question, just kind of referring back to like the firearms. When we talk about ghost guns, we talk about Glock switches. I mean, how has this sort of illegal market that's kind of grown up over the last 5 years affected crime in DC?
Well, I think the access to firearms, the easy access to firearms. I mean, we've had individuals that we've locked up, over the course of a year, in possession of, 2-3 firearms that they've been caught with. So it was one thing, for an individual to be able to go to a neighboring jurisdiction to purchase an illegal firearm, at a gun show or something like that. But it's a whole nother thing when you have individuals are in a space where they're able to purchase firearms from people who can manufacture them in their garage. That is impacting us here in the District of Columbia. We've seen triple-digit recovery numbers for ghost guns here in the District of Columbia over the course of the last 5 years. I think it speaks to the dangers that our police officers are facing, the dangers that our community members are facing as a result of that. And we have to ensure that we're doing everything that we possibly can. I will ensure that the Metropolitan Police Department is, but as a city, we're collectively ensuring that we're doing everything that we possibly can. That includes when it comes to our courts, when it comes to all the other players that are involved, the different programs are available, making sure that we're focused in on the right people to give them either those services or the accountability that we talk about.
Then just one question off of that. With how important is this change in ruling from the Biden administration regarding ghost guns for you guys?
I think it's very important. I mean, we have to do what we can, and certainly that's utilizing the tools that are available to us. So, people are going to find a way. People are going to make a way. And when they do find those ways and they go out of their ways to circumvent or to violate the law, there has to be accountability for that.
That's all I have for you. Thank you for your time today, Chief.
Thank you.